How the internet travels across oceans. People think that data is in the clouds, but it's not. It's all in the ocean. 99% of all internet traffic, whether it is your TV or your mobile phone, run on hidden undersea cables. So why should you care? Because everything is digitalized. So join us today to see how the internet travels across oceans. The internet consists of tiny codes that move around the world. They are as thin as a tiny strand of hair. These strands connect the continents. To support the insatiable demand for communication and entertainment, companies have pulled all of their resources together. This allows them to share all of the data together. First, the cables are assembled inside a factory. To maintain tension in the wires and encase it in protective skin, the cables begin as a cluster of strands. They are made of tiny threads of glass fiber. Lasers propel data down the threads at nearly the speed of light. They do this using fiber-optic technology. In the manufacturing process, the cables move through the mills the size of jet engines, wrapping the wire in a copper casting. This carries electricity across the line to keep the data moving. Depending on where the cable is located, plastic, steel, and tar are added to the cables to help withstand unpredictable ocean environments. When they are finished, they are the size of a garden hose pipe. There are now 1.5 million kilometers of wire, but how much does it all cost? A professional estimates a typical transoceanic cable costs around $300 to $400 million. Now these cables can channel approximately 100 gigabits per second in data, whereas newer cables able to transfer 400 gigabits per second. But how are the cables delivered? A 456-foot ship named Durable deliver the cable to sea. The ship contains 53 bedrooms and 60 bathrooms and can hold up to 80 crew members. The team splits into two 12-hour shifts to ensure everyone is fed for at least 60 days. The ship carries roughly 200 loaves of bread, 100 gallons of milk, 500 cartons of dozen eggs, 800 pounds of beef, 1,200 pounds of chicken, and 1,800 pounds of rice. And to ensure hygiene, there are 700 bars of soap and 600 pounds of laundry detergent. Most of us experience the internet through Wi-Fi and phone data plans, which eventually link up with the physical cables. The ship carries 4,000 miles of cable, weighing about 3,500 metric tons, before placing the cable in the ocean. A whole year of planning is conducted to chart a route that not only avoids underwater hazards, but can also withstand heavy currents, earthquakes, and any other interferences such as fishing trawlers, which may damage the cables. However, these cables are expected to last up to 25 years. One person walks the cable in a circle, whilst others hold it to ensure that there are no knots or tangles. Even though there are several workers, it can take up to 4 weeks before the ship is loaded up with enough cable to hit the sea. The first transatlantic cable was completed in 1858 to connect the United States and Great Britain. Queen Victoria commemorated the occasion with a message to President James Buchanan that took 16 hours to transmit. Even modern and wireless technology are still not as fast or cost-efficient as the cables. However, there are still consequences with this, such as sharks nibbling on Google's cables in 2014. More sinister even than that, the US government have consistently warned of interference in the cables from hostile powers, such as Russia or China. Therefore, countries view the cables as a hot topic for geopolitical dispute. Take a look at 2020, where the Australian government intervened to prevent Chinese technology giant Huawei from installing a cable connecting Australia and Solomon Islands. The fear is that China could use a link to gain access to Australia's internal networks. So, who has ownership? That's an interesting question. It's an expensive business, so nations or national telecom providers have typically picked up the bill. The world's biggest cable owners remain Americans AT&T, with over 230,000 kilometers of undersea cable. The second biggest owner is China Telecom. Typically, cables are owned by groups including tech firms, agencies, and other businesses. While this model helps spread the initial cost, it's less helpful when something goes wrong and nobody can agree who needs to do something about it. Increasingly, big tech is recognizing its scope for growth to be limited by undersea cables. Therefore, over the last few years, majority of cable infrastructure has come from companies like Facebook, which currently holds 1,000 kilometers of cable. Google also owns roughly the same amount. However, both Google and Facebook have come to a joint agreement to build an undersea cable named Apricot, which will link up Singapore, Japan, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Indonesia by the year 2024, which will be the longest cable of 45,000 kilometers. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tech content.